2.
Oh, well done.
And it says we're live.
It lies. Let's see here. If you would like to keep the air conditioning running, because it's almost Thanksgiving in Texas.
We'll need the heat later in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt just because I'm too lazy to change into something short sleeve because it was 40 degrees this morning and it's almost 70 now. I would like you all to remember that we have not one but 2 anthologies with King Harvest Coffee Company. If you would like to support us, one, buy the anthologies. If you'd like to support them and so they can keep sending us coffee.
Yeah.
Also, they now have a Raconteur Press blend.
They
Yes.
do. They not only have a North Texas Troublemaker blend that you can see here, they also have a Raconteur Press blend. So when you order it from them, 1, order often, and 2, let them know you heard about it from us, so they'll send us more coffee. Because I'm not above begging for coffee. If you like Smartass T-shirts, tinyurl.com, Among the Leaves Tees, friend of ours, Smartass T-shirts out the wazoo. Again, let them know you heard about it from us.
Skippy Right Code.
What?
I've been. Rick is cybernetic neocromancy. Yes. Sean's having to port 15-year-old code to a new environment. That's not going to end
Cybernetic
well.
necromancy is about right.
Yeah.
Bless you, my child.
Exactly. Go forth and sin no more.
And they've got snow on the ground in Southwest Ohio. Oh, lovely.
Oh, good. They've been having drought, so they need
Yeah.
to know.
We're not in Southwest Ohio, so
Oh, Sean says, I just wrote the original, so it's the same language, just your versions and environment. Yay for you.
they're putting new smoke in the computer.
Yeah.
God bless them. Those people that keep the magic smoke inside supply inside the computer. God bless them.
And Jesse goes, I'm in fintech. That looks perfectly normal to me.
Huh?
Well, you want to announce the newest book?
Has it gone live yet?
Yes.
Mhm.
The paperback has a hitch. So,
Of course it does. It's Amazon.
actually, no, this one's my fault. I was trying to be slick, and you are now able to do a full spread background 2-page, and it looks awesome. So I set it up with bleed so that the image would look amazing in the paper copy,
Right.
and screwed up some margins in about 3 places in the book. So
Uh-oh.
the paperback will be live tomorrow, and guys, it looks fabulous. If I do say
This
so
is for
myself.
Space Cowboy 6, right?
Fish and chips.
Nobody ever announced it was live.
That's because we knew there was an issue with the paperback.
Oh. No, we've got a Slack, and I don't comment much, but I'm watching the Slack, and
Well, and I was busy with something else today.
Well, it's live.
Yay!
On Kindle.
Yay!
Space Cowboy 6, Fish and Chips, edited by this geezer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently the
So if you want to bitch at somebody, bitch at me.
no,
No. Buy it twice. Buy it in Kindle, and then when the paper comes out tomorrow, buy it in paper.
Leigh Smith goes, that's why I comment the snot out of my code. Some people do, some people don't.
I would
15 years later, I would not remember. I would be commenting.
Yeah. I
also
would be
there's
commenting going, who the hell wrote this crap? Oh, I did.
there's another cover I would like to do a sneak peek on. Oh,
I have
so
a question for you about it.
sneak peek. Sneak peek. That's coming out. So Fish and Chips, and then the other one that y'all just got a sneak peek of are coming out.
Fish and chips,
Fish and Chips,
Fish and chips.
as in
Fish and
nuclear
chips.
fission chips.
not fish and chips.
Nope.
Nope.
Fish and
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Is that still friggin' Bundy?
Look, no one's around to tell us no. Don't do those horrible puns in your covers. So we do them.
Have you seen the previous covers? I mean,
They're beautiful.
404 Cower Not Found.
Oh, wait a minute. It says now it's not live on Kindle.
Oh,
What?
Well,
It was this morning
It's coming soon then.
because I downloaded it this morning.
I don't know what to tell you. I was busy with giant counting robots all day. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I was busy with the day job, but also.
Tiffany Ross has provided a nice segue for something I was getting into later. This is a two-part segue. First, we need stories for giant squid robots, guys. If you can't give us a story, you know people who can. Please let them know we need stories for giant squid robots. I do not want our first anthology where we can't get a full number of stories.
We will have sufficient stories, but what we want is we want to have a full complement of awesome stories, and a little competition never hurts you none. So there will be some adorable graphics circulating on social media so that y'all can share and there we go. And let people know that Giant Squeeing Robots is open for submissions. And we want adorable but action-packed. And obviously there should be some humor involved in this. And the cover started out as a joke, but really I think this one has the potential to go into some really fun directions. Doing the little teddy robot, which is one of the other graphics that I've done up for it, is just kind of one of those things that you might want to think about teddy bears and how they protect from the goblins and ghoulies in the night, and just how do they do that in a high-tech environment.
And
No comment.
And thus we segue the second part of the segue. I've noticed with giant squealing robots, we've kind of plateaued as far as readers and authors go. We've been going up, we kind of leveled off. So I need y'all to do me a favor. I need y'all to spread Racketeer Press as far and wide as you can. We need more authors. We need more readers. We need more of everything.
Nothing.
We don't have the reach I was wanting. We did really well there for a while, but like I said, we've plateaued. So
I'll say something to somebody who that's what she's trying to do, is just kind of be a literary influencer.
Okay. If you know any literary influencers, drop our name.
They're probably not interested in us, but if you know avid readers.
I was talking to Mike Burke this morning, and he said that one of the things that was driving him nuts, amongst the many, many things that drive that man nuts, is the fact that people will complain about not having good stuff to read, but not do anything to promote the good stuff. If you have been complaining about not having pulp to read, but you haven't told fucked 11 people about us, so
11.
Yes,
Okay.
a little bit more than
Slightly more than 10.
yes.
With Mike, it's not a drive, it's a shortcut.
There's not. One of the things that annoys the crap out of me is you'll get on these, I won't say literature sites, but you'll get on story sites, and you'll get a contingent of folks that are bitching about woke fiction, but these same folks, they won't buy our stuff.
And if it's because they're all short stories, we will have novels in the next year. If you're looking for good books for boys, hold on a minute. We're working on it. You just saw the preview of the first wave of that.
If you want to see more good entertainment and boy stories, I've got to start making money. We have to make some money, folks. So anyway, do me a favor next couple of weeks. Let everybody know that, hey, Black Friday, if you are out of ideas for gifts to buy, Raconteur Press can supply most of your gift buying needs. Because I've got to start being able to pay people.
5,000 to 8,000 words, Sushi.
Yes. Anytime you're looking at submitting a story to Raconteur Press Anthology, you're looking at 5 to 8,000 words. But remember, be entertaining. All else is negotiable.
Yes. And Mike just popped in. I took his name in vain, and poof, there's the sulfur. Here's my point: 27 people watching the stream, and only 5 people reposted the fact we're looking for Boys Adventure.
It's one of those things that it's good to share the word, and it might feel to you like it's repetitious, but think about your social media feeds and how they look. You never see the same post over and over again. You're all constantly seeing all the ads and stuff that are the sponsored and the promoted. So the stuff that you want people to see gets buried. So even if you're sharing something, you might try sharing it again, because chances are that the majority of the people that you're friends with that you want to actually see stuff didn't see it. There's a reason I'm no longer active on Facebook. It's
one of
those,
many reasons.
Yes, yes. But it's one of those things of I'm there enough to keep in touch with family and friends that I don't want to lose track of, but it's not useful for me as a marketing thing.
Well, Tiffany is pointing out, yes, Tiffany, you're not the people I'm talking to. Let's see, we've plateaued. Our sales have kind of plateaued. We're still kind of going up, but we're going up slower, which was not what I was looking for in year 3.
Slow growth. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We're launching some really exciting stuff, and I think that we'll see some changes.
Not if nobody knows about it, because nobody's talking about it.
Well, the issue you've got, and this was somebody posted on Substack earlier today. You have the widely read,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the literary readers.
Yeah.
The literary readers, as somebody said earlier, basically are slave to TradPub.
TradPub.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for those guys. They're not going to read our stuff anyway.
The widely read will read anything.
Stereo instructions.
Yeah.
Gum wrappers.
Gum wrappers, the back of a Coke can.
Yep.
Although anybody can read that small of print.
Ingredient list on an MRE.
Yeah.
Done that.
Scary.
Done that.
I couldn't pronounce half the shit that was in it.
Yeah, and
Still didn't taste worth a damn.
no.
Everybody else was at the club enjoying burgers and fries.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, and I'm going to use some business buzzwords here because they work.
Buzzwords bingo.
Yeah. So the problem always is for any small business on the internet, and I mean, we'll narrow it down to independent publishing, is that there is a tsunami of material out there. And how do you stand out from it? How do you have the discoverability for the readers that want to read and are trying to swim through the tsunami of crap, going by Sturgeon's law, to find the gems buried under all of it?
That's where these folks come in.
Exactly. And that is the thing, which is that if you enjoy something, let other people know about it. And it is a time-honored and reliable way for people to be able to find something that they can trust to be good product, enjoyable reads.
Yeah.
We're all looking for the things that we need. And when it comes to reading material, we're looking for entertainment, escapism. We're looking for just good old-fashioned fun reads. And the only way that people are going to find us amongst all of if you look at the top bestsellers in any subgenre in Amazon right now, there is a dominant theme. And the word dominant is probably meant several ways.
I was going to say smut.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the readers that don't want that necessarily, or they're not in the mood for that today, they're looking to try and find what's hidden behind those books that have gotten pushed out of sight.
Yeah.
And that's where the Amazon algorithms sometimes fall down. And yes, you have the also bots, but the also bots and the sponsoreds get filled up with other stuff.
Yeah.
So the best way to find your next read is to ask what someone who likes the same things you are is reading.
Well, and James Sharp brings up a good point. It's not just us.
Mhm.
Growth has stalled across
Mhm.
all industries and markets. Label sales have stalled too.
Yep.
Because everybody's pulling back.
Yep. The
Mhm.
economy is
Yeah.
iffy, and we're in a transition period with this big election. Big presidential elections always affect book sales.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we knew that there was going to be, we actually were expecting a dip, and what we got instead was a stall. So that's a good thing.
I can still be annoyed by it.
You can
Also,
absolutely
I'd
be
like to
annoyed by
point
it.
out that guys, whole bunch, Greg, hold back discretionary spending. I would like to point out that trapping your nearest and dearest in a corner and talking their ears off about Racketteur Press costs you nothing.
You don't know my nearest and dearest.
Yes, we do.
That's what we're talking about. We're not
I'm
talking
not-
about buying. We're talking about spreading the news
I'm
Yeah.
not talking about the one I
or the
live
manure.
with.
Whichever comes
I'm
first.
talking about the ones in Waco that
Oh, never mind.
Spreading the news or the manure, whichever comes first.
Yeah, it costs nothing to hit the share button. And by doing so, you can support a small press that is doing their best to bring some levity into this world.
Well,
So-
and Flippin' Harmon brings up a good point. You have to attract the non-readers,
Mhm.
and that pool is getting wider than the pool of current readers.
Yep.
And
Because people don't. Their first objective is not to pick up a book.
Mhm.
It's to pick up a computer and play a game.
And we are actually doing some non-traditional advertising methods to get out into that pool of people that don't hang out in the social reader circles.
Thank you.
like I said, we're not
Dad.
asking you to spend money. We're asking you to spread the manure word, whichever
Yeah.
comes first, whichever applies. Again,
Yeah,
trapping.
that's true. It's scary how few people read on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Cocktail corner group of people talk cheap.
Well, and the other thing too is that some of what Raconteur Press is doing is a very long game. The book that you just got a sneak peek of is intended for toddlers through middle grade. The book is actually
It's
multi-layered.
Written by a Marine, so it's meant for toddlers.
Mhm. Yes.
giant squeaking robots.
If there are crayons involved, yes.
Yes, well,
There aren't actually any crayons in this book. Maybe I'll talk to him for the next book. But he's
got to have 8 crayons in there somewhere.
No, but our idea is that we want to capture them young and give them appealing alternatives as they grow older until
Yeah.
they grow up and they never stop reading the way so many kids do these days.
It's always amusing to get hold to for Mike to say, "I didn't realize how long thank you was in binary."
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and,
Oh my gosh.
I'm the oldest one here by quite a few years. Shut up. Shut up.
not as many as you think.
Shut up, kid. I grew,
Grumpy old bastard.
I grew up reading because it was either read, go outside and play, or it was dark.
Mhm.
And, we did not have, we had a few board games. Monopoly was one of them, and Risk and a few others. But there were not a lot of choices. I mean, hell,
Apparently, Admiral John Paul Jones was a killer at the list table.
yeah. I learned how to read the newspaper when I was like 5,
Mhm.
and we didn't have kindergarten.
Which is good.
Yeah. So by the time I started the first grade, I already knew how to read,
Mhm.
and I was reading actual books.
Yep.
Because my mother and dad had very little formal education. So they read.
Mhm.
And I picked, shut up, Greg.
Eh.
So I picked it up from them.
Yeah.
and I've always read. And being in the Navy,
That's all you can do.
when you're haze gray and underway, yes.
After holy stoning the deck,
But
curling up with a good book.
yeah, the amount of sailors that we used to see with a book in their pocket, officer and enlisted,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
and even today, squadrons still have libraries,
Yep.
trade libraries.
Yep. Yeah.
Ships have libraries.
My son has been
Yeah.
getting books from me and contributing them
Yeah.
too.
And I mean, they run the gamut. They're everything from Aesop's to Fables to Plutarch to, politics to
Mac Bullen.
Mac Bowen. Yeah, always got to be a few of them.
Thomas Paine's latest pamphlet.
Yeah, that's it. I've seen that in there too. And I've seen the Federalist Papers in a Navy book.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Note he's not saying which edition.
Second, probably, maybe first printing.
Yeah, there is no TV under the water either. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why right after my son came out of basic, and it was his birthday not long after that, we had a conversation with some people that are active duty, and that put us in touch with someone that is active and serving on subs, who was able to give us guidance, and we got him a Kindle, an ebook reader for his birthday, because he'll be able to take that with him on
Yeah.
the boat. And I gave him access to my library and loaded the heck out of that Kindle. So, and there is one good thing about the last couple of Larry Correa, Son of the Black Sword books have been lagging on the audiobook. So my son was listening to them, and he finally got so frustrated with the wait that he started reading the ebooks.
Yeah.
Good.
So he's transitioned from doing all
Yeah.
audio to now he does ebook as well, because he got impatient.
Yeah.
This is good.
Deployment libraries, Padre says deployment libraries 75 to 90% romance.
No kidding.
Not in the Navy, maybe in the Army.
Maybe in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Same thing in jails. And whenever you have libraries that people are donating to, the majority of books out there, folks, are romances.
Yeah.
Romance is a huge market.
Yeah.
And
And most romance readers are not rereading the same book.
No.
So
Well-
they'll buy books, they'll read through them, and then they'll donate them. That's why when you go to like a library book sale, the vast majority of books
Yeah.
are romances. And I mean, I've walked into our little local library sale and picked up a brown paper bag full of books for $1.
Yeah.
Knowing that they were all romance novels, because this was for a thing we did on book covers
Remember
for
that,
video. And there are certain genres of books, there's just a crap ton of them out there. So anytime you have a little free library, that's where you're going to
anytime
wind
you
up
have
with
a
most
donated
of.
library at
Yeah.
the jail,
And Rick just made a
Yeah.
good point. Johan better not pull out his Kindle before he calls on his first watch station, and not very much until he has his dolphins.
I
He'll
don't
learn.
know what he's going to be facing. I know right now we're still waiting. He's still waiting on the clearance, so we're still waiting to find out what, when,
Yeah,
where.
but
guys,
or even if he's
do
going-
not interrupt learning that's occurring.
but
Um,
that is a
No.
that's a
he's-
serious point.
He actually has talked to me about, he's aware that there's times and places when he won't be able to use it.
Yeah.
Because he was talking to me, he was actually objecting to me giving it to him, because he's like, there's times I won't be able to use it. I'm like, but there will be times that you can.
Well, he needs to
So-
disable the camera on it too.
It doesn't have one.
Ah.
That's I bought a
Good.
specific one under the guidance of that really this one has to be docked to Wi-Fi, and if you don't have Wi-Fi on the boat, it's not going to be an issue.
Hey, John, you finished the guitar. Yay.
Oh, John's here.
Yeah.
Did you get it wired, or is it just glued together? And
But anyway, so free libraries at the jail, the Raisin Farm,
Yeah.
all free libraries are 99% romances, because that's the majority of books out there. Romances, women are, and some
God
guys.
made up the rest of them, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man.
It's a hell of a thing doing a shakedown in a 48-man tank
No.
and coming up with 103 romance novels.
Yeah.
It's like, guys,
Well, I mean, it goes back to reading the gum wrapper, reading
Right.
the
Mhm.
label on the MRE of if that's all you've got available.
That's what you read.
And it actually, even in a more macro sense, that comes back to what we were talking about with discoverability and Amazon. Of if 90% of the books out there are romances, finding the ones that aren't
Yeah.
is going to take a little help.
And it doesn't also help that Amazon will take a shifter romance novel and slam it into paranormal,
Oh yeah.
urban fantasy, and all
Oh, yeah.
that when it's 90%
it's
werewolves having sex.
Lay, did you work out of NRL bowling or a different lab? Now you got me curious as to whether we crossed paths.
one of the things I've noticed with you're Jim Curtis, of course you've crossed paths. One of the things that annoys me about fantasy short stories
Yeah.
is every now and then the sheer number of bot smut on there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
just mind blowing.
Overwhelming. Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Well, and
Well-
Amazon's been having, and this is part of the reason that Fish and Chips is delayed, is because Amazon has been slammed by the AI bot books and trying to weed through those so that they're only publishing the actual books that have people involved has really slowed their processes down. So we've gone from potentially having an ebook live in 4 hours to it's taking a couple of days.
And honestly, I don't mind. I was joking earlier
Yeah.
because we pulled the trigger yesterday, and I was joking earlier that
Yeah, I know where you worked, Lay.
that there's an Amazon drone going. Actor Press, they don't publish on Wednesdays. What's going on?
Well, look what happened with Haunted Libraries 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ended up in 2 different categories. Same premise in both books.
Oh yeah. No, this
Well,
is
and I'll put books in a specific category because I usually run the categories for Rack Press, and I will put books in specific categories because they belong there.
Yeah.
And Amazon, bless their pea picking little hearts, decides no, they don't, and they're going to put them somewhere else.
Yeah.
that annoys the crap out of me because I like data.
Yeah.
I do. I'm an Intel guy and I like data.
Yeah.
So Cedar made this comment that she put one of our books in a smaller category because it seemed to sell better. So it's like, hot damn, I'm going to get some, in this category, we sell X number. And so I was going to run a 24-hour and a 5-day. The numbers at 24 hours, numbers at 5 days on page reads, and see how it stacked up over putting it in broadcast, others in broad categories. And I got annoyed because like 22 hours later, they moved it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like,
They
God
took
damn
it
it.
out of that category.
Stop from my experiments.
And the funny thing was they took it out of the category and later put it back in
I can,
Yeah.
because they were like, oh, she was right after all.
Yeah.
Stop screwing with my observations.
Ah.
Lay, I worked at ONR for 13 years, retired in 2016.
So y'all do know each other.
Ah.
Big surprise.
John, so now all you got to do is let the tension set up or set before you fully finish it. Putting together a guitar is like building a car.
Yeah.
It's basically brain dead work. You don't have to think about what you're doing.
Isn't that
You
lovely?
just do it.
Isn't that lovely?
And you have a product when you're done.
Mhm. Also, those kinds of tasks tend to be fantastic for the creative brain.
Because your brain can go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike writing, unlike working on computers,
Mm-hmm.
where you are staring at the computer all day long, and when you go to shut it off, what do you have to show for it?
3,000 words.
A book.
Maybe. But what physically do you have to show for it? Nothing.
Repetitive stress injuries.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I've been under a little bit of stress, and my creativity's gone to hell. And I've been batting around. I went to the Army as a gunsmith, and I've been batting around buying a used Ruger new American rifle in 223 and rebarreling it for 25-45 just the hell of it, because I can do that without thinking about it. And when I get done, I'll have a rifle in 25-45.
Yeah.
and then I can set up loads at 87 grains at 3,000 feet per second, and I'll have something that I don't have to think about when I
Not
do it.
that you have it planned out or anything.
I don't actually have to. This is easy.
I know.
I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Whereas
However, there
I'm
are
herding
times
ducks.
herding ducks. Wow.
I rebuilt one fender 5 friggin' times.
Yeah.
Because of the friggin' eyebrows.
Yeah.
On a 1957 Chrysler 300.
Yeah.
5 times.
I remember redoing an M16A2, and I rebarreled it. And I could not get that, and I rebarreled it 7. It took me 5 days.
Yeah.
And I never did get the damn thing rebarreled to the way I liked it. And Chief kicked my ass and then sent it out. It annoyed the crap out of me. I just couldn't get it right. Pissed me off. And it's an easy rebarrel an M16 if you got all the stuff is easy.
Yeah.
You got your chamber gauge and your castle, and it's an easy thing to do if you know what you're doing.
And it was going out some ground on the line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Chief's it's going out some ground on the line. It doesn't have to be perfect.
That's I've
Lloyd
got
Beam's sitting with us.
Lloyd and Cedar. It's I know that properly done, if you properly tune any AR platform, you can get 2 minutes of angle. Army's perfectly happy with 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Marine Corps is perfectly happy with artillery.
When you know what you're doing is the key. Well, and again, we all need some stuff that we can do. We don't have to think about.
Yeah, Cedar does gardening
Yes.
and landscaping.
Oh, I took a lemon off of one of Cedar's lemon trees last night, cut it and squeezed it. Oh, holy cow, that was good lemon juice.
Joy wandering and knitting, yes.
I have in the past crocheted. It's I can't just sit and watch TV or a movie or something. I have to do something with my hands at the same time. And crocheting is great for that. Because otherwise my brain's like skitter. Doesn't want to sit put.
Tick, 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 tick.
I can't actually knit, so I crochet.
Don't know what the difference
Well,
is.
and
Knitting is 2 needles. Crochet is
Crocheting
one hook.
was invented by sailors who were bored.
Bridget Korea, needlepoint.
Mm-hmm.
Rosie Greer, needlepoint.
Needle pointed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nancy, MOA is minute of angle. It is a 1-inch diameter circle at 100 yards.
Yeah.
It's roughly a minute of angle. So I like to make rifles that if we'll put every round within a circle 1.5 inches in diameter if you aim at the center.
So you don't build rifle muskets.
Watch stuff and miniatures. That's another one. And that's one thing. Knowing how big Larry's hands are, I do not see how the hell that man can paint miniatures.
I did the same thing.
How the hell can you do that?
Like this.
I know Larry doesn't drink coffee. You must not.
Yeah, right. Sure. I don't drink coffee.
Yeah. I remember.
Is the entire west half of this county unstabulated? Yes, then I drink coffee.
Then I drink coffee.
I remember when Mr. Magoo did the pinstriping on my car. He wanted me there at 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Before the caffeine kicked in.
Before he had his first cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove down there to Redondo Beach, drove up to his house, and there's one light on in the living room. And he comes out and his hair's going about 14 different directions. He's in a ratty ass t-shirt, cut off pair of blue jeans. He goes, all right, let's get this shit done.
He needed his coffee.
He needed his coffee. And he sat there and lined that car out all by hand, no supports, did it perfectly. And went, good, I'm fucking done. Coffee.
And these days I drink far more coffee. Well, I drink far more coffee starting in about 2004.
Yeah.
Mostly because I couldn't get recreational beverages where I was.
Yeah. James, I've seen y'all paint at Liberty Con. I shake too bad. I drink too much coffee to try even paint miniatures. I mean, I cannot do the one camel hair paintbrush. I'm just no.
But
I mean,
when I paint miniatures, I know who I'm painting them for. They're from
Yeah.
my army, and if you don't like the way it looks, well, here's a middle finger,
Yeah.
and here's another middle finger. It's
Yeah.
mine. I don't care.
Take two. They're cheap.
Oh, Rick, yeah. Carving meerschaum pipes. How many of those kits did they sell out of the Navy Exchange
Mhm.
over the years?
I
Because you couldn't, after the no ivory prohibition. I mean, if you want to see intricate detailing, go look at some of the old sailor carved ivories.
Mhm.
I'll bring a tank. It shakes, don't matter what
Camo
camo paint.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, James.
there for a long time in the. And bear in mind, I've never fly fished in my life. Fly fishing annoys the crap out of me.
Scrimshaw, yes.
Yeah. Fly fishing annoys the crap out of me. There for a long time in the 90s when I was working out of Amarillo, I would in the evenings, my no brain was tying flies, and I would tie them and give them away or sell them, and haven't done that in ages, and
Buddy of mine is into fly fishing.
can't stand it.
I cannot stand that shit.
Mhm.
I don't go fishing to sit there and repeatedly cast in the water and not catch a fucking fish.
Oh, you'd hate the way I fish.
I go to fish to catch fish, to clean the son bitches and eat them.
I like bass and panfish.
Well, see, I don't really like fish because for the first 10 years of my life, my dad and grandfather would go fishing every damn weekend, catch 30 pounds of assorted freshwater fish, bring them home, clean them, and dredge them in cornmeal and fry them.
Yeah.
And I can walk in a store with a fish market and be like, nope, we're going this way. And of course, Brandy loves saltwater fish, and I can't eat saltwater fish because I'm adult onset allergy to saltwater fish.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh,
So, but do I like to fish? Yes. Do I stand there and spin cast? Yes.
one of the best times we had a long time ago. Chris and I took some sprogs out to Buffalo Lake, which is feeds Owl Park. And it's got a hell of a bluegill.
Yeah.
And we had the sprogs out there. We set up a little gas stove and started heating some oil. And we had a aluminum tin full of Louisiana breading for fish.
Right.
Yep.
And we were yanking bluegill in. I mean, they were still flopping when we got them cleaned out, dredged to the cornmeal and into the hot grease. And holy gods, that was good stuff.
Fishing with M80s, yes, that works.
Allegedly, so do grenades.
Well, they did have a case on the Brazos where they arrested some gentlemen. Parks and Wildlife did a raid. They arrested some gentlemen who were quarter sticking.
Yeah.
On the Brazos. The best part of that was the first game warden through the door was about 5'4" and 100 pounds soaking wet. And she comes dragging these two gorillas out by their collars because she beat the crap out of them.
James Copley says, I go fishing to read and let other people fruitlessly cast over and over. Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where I don't have to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I'm fishing for bass, especially fishing for bass, I'll put a MEPS combo on, and I'm not thinking. I'm just casting, and nobody bothers me because you're fishing.
I grew up either trot lining for catfish or cane pole and a bobber,
right,
for largemouth bass, stripers, or whatever else was edible.
Well, one of my fall projects at some point after we get more boxes emptied is I have a large Walmart bag full of my grandfather's fishing lures and tetanus. It's full of tetanus.
Ted says, absolutely, and I know absolutely nothing about M80 fishing that may or may not have occurred in Kentucky during the 80s. Good answer.
Fort Hood, Lake Belton, bored and hungry cavalry scouts.
I'll go you one better than that because I think the statute of limitations is run out. We used to go wilderness camping up in above Tahoe.
Yep.
It was a weekend to get away from Moffett, get away from all the friggin' idiots, get away from the traffic, just go up there, put a pack on our back, and walk up the hill. And we were catching trout and eating them. And then we found out that they were protected.
It happens.
And each trout was like $1,000 fine. We went, oh, not paying. There was no paying there.
It was a
Good thing you ate the evidence.
yeah. And you want to talk about Fort Hood in the 80s? One of my cousins was stationed down there when the colonel in charge of the 2nd Armored backed his track over a civilian pickup truck
yeah.
at Lake Belton.
Yeah, I remember that. I I have not fond memories.
Hey,
of that.
Jesse, welcome. Jerry, good to see you.
Well, I say backed his track. It was an M60.
He backed his track.
He backed his
It was a
tank
truck.
over it.
Yep, it's track.
That was a below average for head work.
What's the driver going to do when the colonel says, "Oh, well, I can guide you from up here in the turret
And
to help this poor civilian whose pickup truck is stuck"?
Oh.
What's that spec? Spec 4 who's driving going to do? Sir, yes, sir. I don't think this is a good idea, but I mean, it's the same thing we did when I was working in Iraq. We had a Marine warrant officer come in. He was looking for a load of Hescos, and he says, "Well, y'all are just going to empty the Connex box, right?" Well, yeah, it's a 20-foot Connex box. Well, just load it on my 5-ton. Sir, that 5-ton has a 16-foot bed. This is a 20-foot Connex box. It's not going to work. I think it'll work. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I don't think that's going to work. No, sir. Unfortunately, it's still attached to the ratch.
Can I get that order in writing, please?
That's about all you can do at that point.
Yeah, or as Lee says, with all due respect, yeah. I've used that line once or twice.
Which is
end
why,
well for me.
Which is one of the reasons why when we were dealing with particularly sticky individuals who outranked my Marines, they'd send me to talk to them.
Well, all you had to do was loom, Lloyd.
Well, yeah, one of my kids came up to me one day and he goes, and they called me Tiny for some reason. I don't know why. But he says, "Hey, Tiny, can I pick you up?" They don't think I can pick you up. I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. But I get to pick you up." Okay. And this was back before my back was as ratchet as it is now. And he comes up and he bear hugs me and he picks me up and he sets me down. He says, "Okay, your turn." Top of the head and in the crotch. Picked him up over my head. And he's like, "Would you please put me down?" Put him back down.
multiple ambulances and vans carrying Secret Service agents leaving Mar-a-Lago per pool reports.
That's interesting, Todd.
Crap. In other news, apparently Putin is feeling frisky.
Yeah.
Apparently his rockets are not.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean I was in a discussion on that this morning, and they're like, "Oh, well, we shouldn't take them. We shouldn't discount what they can do." And I'm like, going, "Okay, look, the Russians had this thing. I actually talked to a guy who was a defector in the night, and he defected from the Soviet Union, but shit hadn't changed. They'd make, a few rockets that worked really, really well. A, to show the high party members. B, to show to potential clients. And C, to scare the piss out of the West.
Yeah.
And then everything else they built, it might launch. It might blow up in the tube, or it might go pop.
Yeah.
And considering they've been drinking the rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Are we saying that Putin is having trouble getting it up?
Nah.
She went there.
She went there.
She went there.
Well, he has supposedly revised his nuclear standards.
Oh, God.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like he was going to follow.
Nuke is what I say it is.
No, as to when they will be used.
Like he was going to follow standards anyway.
Yeah,
What the
and
hell?
He's this new the new short range setup in Poland. Oh, this is a direct aggressive threat. And it's like, okay.
Whatever.
It's THAAD.
Yeah. It's the same shit we were building
20 years ago.
Well, no, because it's
They've been working on THAAD for over 20 years.
yeah, but the concept goes all the way back to the 60s with
Yeah.
the Nike not Nike. Yeah, Nike
Nike.
Athena.
Yeah.
Nike Athena project.
Yeah.
Which never
Bye,
got
Sean.
built, but they scared the shit out of the Russians.
Yeah, John, it's, you almost wonder what Biden is trying to do. Is he trying to start World War III?
Nah, he doesn't care.
He's not going.
He'd have to remember where he was.
Does he even know what he's doing?
He's not going
No.
to start World War III.
We're not asking what Biden's trying to do. We're trying to ask what the
Jill's
three
doing.
Zamanovs behind him
Yeah.
trying to do.
Well, that's like I said the other day on Facebook. There's three things
See you, Sean. Have fun with the programming.
I never thought I'd live to see.
Nike Hercules. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I never thought I'd live to see a father-son presidency.
Yeah.
Edith Wilson in the White House again.
Yeah.
And a president who sits out for 4 years and then gets elected again.
Yeah. Yeah, Jerry. The line of death. You cross it, you die.
Now here's the line of death.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
We've crossed that line of death more than a few times. That was part of our daily job, pretty much.
When he can repeat effectively, I'll start to get worried.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But the thing, we go back, and every time it's all the way back to World War II. Every time we get all hot and bothered about the Soviet Union, we go back after we were hot and bothered about it. We look, and then we're all paper bears.
Yeah.
And then we go to another phase where we get worried about the Soviet Union or Russia or whatever. And then 5 years after it collapses, we go look back. Oh, it was paper bears.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, what was it in the 70s? They're all 12 foot tall and bulletproof.
Yeah.
And they're going to come pouring through the Fulda Gap.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're looking at their actual logistics train in action. And we're using the same logistics concepts the Tsar used.
Mm-hmm.
With the engines that Marshall Plan provided in World War II,
Yeah.
which, by the way, has the Russian rail system so stacked up right now, they cannot move anything.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an article day before yesterday. There is a 10 to 20 mile blockage
Mm-hmm.
of the main line into Moscow because they can't move the rail cars.
No.
I remember the studies. The Russians were involved in the Congo.
Yeah.
And everybody's, oh my God, this shows, the efficiency of the Russian special forces. And then 10 years later, we look at it. The Russian special forces got their asses kicked so bad by starving tribesmen, they had to nerve gas entire villages.
Yep.
And then it's like,
I believe it is, Rick.
there was a motorized rifle brigade that went to either Ethiopia or Somalia when they were dusting up, got wiped out. This entire motorized rifle Russian Soviet Union got slaughtered.
Peter's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the reports got back, it was just some advisors. Bullshit. It was the entire motorized rifle brigade got their asses slaughtered by third world natives, one step above spear carriers.
With a little help from certain people.
Well,
And it's like, and then, oh my God, the Russian nukes. Where's Greg? Oh my God, the Russian nukes, in the 80s. We were all worried. And then when Russia fell, turns out the majority of those Russian nuke sites were full of water and had been for so long. There were three-eyed fish and glowing slime on the walls. And there's no way they were going to be launched. And it's like, oh my God, the Russian atomic arsenal. Oh my God. Turns out most of it's missing. And what it's missing doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And then here we go. We're back to, oh my God, the Russian bear. Are we going to learn?
no.
Look, the Russians make vodka in bioreactors.
Yeah.
Very right.
It's potatoes.
Polish vodka's better.
The Russians got their asses kicked by the Afghans in the 80s. And I'm not talking a little bit. They got their asses whooped. They've got their asses whooped by Congolese with machetes.
Yep.
They got their asses whipped by either the Ethiopians or the Somalis. I forget which. They got their asses kicked by 8th century goat herds in the mountains. Their shit doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. And now we're worried about them again.
Somewhere I've got pictures of one of the backfires that they blew up at TQ.
Yeah.
And the electronics in it that were vacuum tube.
Yeah, it's vacuum tubes because they still work.
Yeah, but this is cutting edge Russian technology. It's fucking vacuum tubes.
Well, you got to understand, Lloyd, you're making a mistake if you're thinking that's bad.
No, I understand that it will work under conditions and where maintenance is inshallah.
But the issue is that they were using vacuum tubes. Yes, they worked, but they were using because they didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
That's right, because they did not have the computer technology that we did. They didn't have the transistors. So they made things out of vacuum tubes. They made things, without going into detail, we got a Taranto PPG from these Germans, which is one of their a Russian export patrol gunboat.
Right.
It had a better deperming system on it, manual deperming system, than a U.S. nuke did. It was gear driven.
Yeah.
Gear driven off the compass.
I'm not saying that because it's backwards or it's a generation or two technology old that it's doesn't work.
Like sometimes we advance our technology faster than we can prove that it actually works.
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
I've
let's
tested
face
that
it.
shit. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's look at the vast majority of what we're dominating the world with.
Vacuum tubes don't react to EMP. Yeah.
Exactly. What's the newest fighter the Navy's flying right now? Other than the F-35, which was designed to meet a 90s standard.
F-18.
FA-18s, which were designed in the 70s.
Yep.
I mean, we're still flying, we got grandkids flying their grandfather's B-52s.
I was just
Soon to
going
be
to
great
say,
grandkids.
if y'all don't go and watch Habitual Line Crosser,
Yeah.
with the B-52 and the F-35 and the rest of that interesting cast of characters he has, it is hilarious. But Grandpa Buff is my favorite.
Grandpa
character.
Buff.
But again,
Obsolete is not necessarily worthless. That's a good point.
it may not be worthless, but it's also
It will work in the environment, anywhere.
yes,
Up to a point.
but it won't work as well as the stuff that's going to kill it.
But it will work.
Well,
Greg's point, he said the silos were ICM based. Their nuclear force was actually mobile based.
Yeah.
23s, 25s, 24s, and 27s.
Mhm.
Yeah. F-22 was designed in the late 80s.
And we can't build those right now because they shut the line down.
And Richard brings up a good point. Rockwell Collins 618 THF receiver. The RF power amp was and is a vacuum tube.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there's a reason you can't stick a vacuum tube in some of the missiles we're using to kill their tanks in job lots.
Can and will, two different
We could go
things.
back to pigeons.
Cannot stick vacuum tubes in a javelin.
Well, that's one of the issues that we're facing is the technology is advancing so fast that we cannot match the capability.
Got plenty of vacuum tubes in the T-62s that the non-vacuum tube javelins are killing by job lots.
Yeah.
No, they're killing them with Hydra missiles, essentially,
Yeah.
at this point, which are, unless they got a $6,000 Hydra.
Yeah.
That they screw a $2,000 seeker head onto, load it in the back of a Toyota Tundra or Tacoma, and drive up, pop up,
The
go
vampire.
boom, boom, boom,
Vampire
vampire.
Yeah.
Vampire system.
Yeah, John brings up a good point. They did not just shut the line down; they also destroyed all the equipment to make parts.
It'd take 3 to 5 years to spin up
Yeah.
the line if we had to build F-22s, which
We
is why
can't do it.
which is why we're going back to F-15s.
And we're now going to the F-15G, I think, or
Yeah.
H.
GH, but it's supposed to. There's some radical departures from the original design.
Yeah.
They're not using drywall screws to hold the stuff together.
No, that's the SU-57.
I know. That's why I said that.
Well, the P3.
Yeah.
You know, in the B models, we were still using magnetrons for radar, which is nothing more than a huge vacuum tube.
Yeah.
You can play some nice tricks with it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there were ways to do things with that system.
And there are ways to do things with the Soviet technology, or the Russian technology. But I mean, the newest thing they've got is the Arma, and it's a 30-year-old Soviet design.
Yeah.
The Arma tank.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work with a damn. They're very careful to keep that one away from anybody that might be able to know what the hell
They
they're doing.
think there might be a total of 15.
I thought they were down to 2.
No, they think they rolled 15 off the line.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
6th generation are in development now. So restarting F-22 would be a waste of money.
Yeah.
F-22 was a waste of money anyway. It was an interim design
To get us to 6th generation.
to get us to 6th generation. The Air Force spends money differently than everybody else.
Like a sailor on Liberty in Post City?
Air Force is the cheapest son of a bitches on Liberty you ever saw.
I know that, but they spend their R&D department spends money like a sailor in a Longapo.
Because they don't have to maintain ships. They don't have to maintain half the crap that the Navy does.
Yeah.
They don't have to maintain the stuff Marines do.
They don't have to maintain some of the shit the Army does, including ships.
Yeah.
Yes, our
But-
Army has its own Navy.
it's bigger than the Navy.
To me, the classic, all-time classic is Hickam Air Force Base.
Oh, God.
They paint the hangars over there every 2 years,
Yeah.
including the World War II hangar. The Navy has 2 World War II hangars at Ford Island that they cannot get a penny to paint or even replace the glass in.
Mm-hmm.
What
Well,
is it?
And here's one for you.
Air Force has got better PR than anybody else.
Our allies across the pond are talking about maybe having to mothball their new carriers.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the budget for it.
Well, not only that, the Brits are,
That's what I'm talking about.
well, they're doing away with they're getting rid of helicopters, they're getting rid of aircraft, they're getting rid of ships.
So they're going to the German model where they're going to depend on the United States to move them.
Yep.
I think folks will realize you don't really shouldn't put all your eggs in the American basket.
Yeah.
Ukraine wouldn't be in the spotted tin right now if they hadn't put their eggs in the American basket.
Yep.
Trust
Yeah, Todd, that's a good point. F-15X is not fly-by-wire,
is now fly-by-wire.
or is not. No, it is not. Now, okay, all right. I didn't read far enough. Fly-by-wire has its own set of issues.
You mean the F-16 wire chafing problem they haven't fixed in 40 years?
Yeah, well, they fixed it. It was a fair lead. They put more rubber in the fair lead so it wouldn't
Chafe
scratch
as
itself.
fast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was why they were called lawn darts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, most people don't know what a lawn dart is, but
Yeah.
hey.
Well, some of us old farts actually threw
Yeah.
real lawn
Yeah.
darts
Yeah.
back before they were.
Both the pointy, dangerous version that was basically a Roman plumbata,
Yeah.
and the less dangerous, unpointy version that had a big round lead weight on it.
Clunk.
Yeah.
Those hurt. When you get hit with them.
Oh,
they
yeah.
did hurt, especially if the damn thing hits your foot.
Oh yeah. Lawn darts.
Yard dart.
God, things we come up with.
I don't know. I was telling a story and I said something about dirt darts, that something dirt darted. And I think it was Copley, but somebody on the panel was at a con. So the panel said, "You can tell he's from Texas because everybody else says lawn darts."
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Texas lawn is dirt.
Dirt dart.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the time that Big Mama dirt darted the paramedic off her porch. You can tell he's from Texas.
Yeah, Padre, 4th generation fighters are designed to beat anything our enemies actually have.
That's a lot of military equipment going west.
West. I
Yeah.
know. And there's been when I was coming this way, there was a lot on flatbeds too.
There's some Humvees in that one.
Also some Cuckvees, which I haven't seen in 40 years.
Yeah.
We actually had 2 of those.
So y'all know the boys are distracted because there's a train loaded up with military equipment that is visible through the windows in the blanket fort.
And it's all old stuff. It's not that much new stuff on it.
Wonder if it's going on a boat to go across the Pacific to go to our foreign partners.
Could be.
There's a lot of Cuckvees on there. I didn't think Cuckvee was a Chevy GM pickup, 1500 pickup.
James, I don't think the lawn darts weren't a Darwin Award.
Yeah, they were.
Eh,
If you didn't throw them right, you could get a Darwin Award for that.
Darwin loved lawn darts.
Yes, he did.
we never got anybody that badly hurt with one of them.
Little blood's a learning experience.
Yeah, but the whole reason they pulled them off the market was there were 2 or 3 people killed by them, if I remember right.
I don't remember that.
Well, most things can be used as a weapon if you do it right.
Or if you're really, really motivated.
That's true.
It's not a distraction. It's window shopping. And on that note, folks, we've wasted another hour of your time.
Remember,
Swear
keep
to
an
God,
eye
there's
out
some
for fish and
113s
chips.
on there.
Oh, yeah, there are.
We may as well sign out so the boys can go stand outside to see it better.
All right, folks. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe.
Be safe. Fish and chips. Also, first kid novel. Take a look at it. Or kid story, kids book. Y'all have fun.
The other thing is, if you're traveling for Thanksgiving, be safe on the roads or in the air or however you
That's
want
not
to
this
travel.
weekend, is it?
Yeah,
But it's
next week.
Next week.
Next week.
So we
Okay.
won't have a Thursday episode next week, I
Yeah.
don't think.
We'll have a
No.
Tuesday, but not Thursday.
We will not be here Thursday because we'll be eating food.
I have to smoke a turkey.
Our smoking a turkey.
How do you roll it up into the paper? Oh,
I
wait.
knew that.
Okay, so first thing you
I
got to
was
do
waiting for it.
is you got to debone it.
Remember, folks, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. And we'll see you next week.
Y'all be safe.
Bye. God.
Oh.